All right. Everyone come close. Come close. We're all mishpacha. Let's go. We love everyone. All right, so we'll get started. My name is Aaron Karabell. I'm the board chair for the Nashville Federation. I had once said, I think on a Wednesday, good Shabbos, and I didn't have a kid then. I now have an excuse. So it's been a good summer. We want to welcome you to this very special celebration, and like anything else, we lead with gratitude, and I want to thank everyone on behalf of the board, on behalf of our professional staff, for your commitment, for your time, for your generosity. You make the Nashville Federation and all that we support run, and you make Jewish community, communal life. Tonight, our Nashville Jewish community celebrates our historic growth, our diversity, and of course, our long and rich history. We are inspired by the dedication and sacrifices of those generations that built this community, and by those who today represent our foundation of support as we look toward the future. We are excited about the opportunity to continue to build our capacity for helping the Jewish people here in Nashville and around the world. We have set ourselves a pretty significant and substantial goal this year, but as I look around this room, I'm confident that together we will reach this goal. And now I want to offer a very special welcome and introduction to my new friend, longtime friend, Judy Alperin, our brand new CEO. Judy is a dedicated and experienced professional, passionate about the Jewish community, excited to be part of Jewish Nashville, at least that's what she tells me, and fired up about helping us expand our reach and deepen our connection. Judy, we are absolutely thrilled that you are here. We believe that you are our future and will help guide not only our, no pressure, right? No pressure. Help guide our professional staff, making our federation that much better, that much more strategic, but also help guide our community in ways that we couldn't have envisioned. And so, without further ado, Judy.
Wow, the future. Just to take a serious moment before I begin, I just wanted to acknowledge something deeply painful and profoundly important for us all. Today marks the 681st day that innocent hostages have been held captive in Gaza, kept from their homes, their families, and their communities, enduring unimaginable conditions. So I would just ask if we could pause together as one community just to hold them in our hearts. Thank you. Well, I feel like a true Southern belle now because I was bestowed this beautiful flower, and I want to thank everyone for being here. It's truly a pleasure to address the Nashville Jewish community for the first time as your CEO. This moment feels both beshert, meant to be, and also a Shehekianu moment, one that calls for gratitude for reaching this day. I want to extend my deepest appreciation to the search committee, the board of directors, our clergy, and the many community members and leaders who have invested their time and intention to ensure that I get off on the right foot. Thank you for demonstrating Nashville's warmth and welcoming nature in every interaction. I also want to offer gratitude to our incredible staff team. It's been clear to me since day one that these folks have a passion and a love for this community, and their commitment is on display every day doing their best on your behalf, and it's evident in their hard work, and they're just incredible, and I just want to thank them. Well, if you've learned a little about me already, you know that Jewish community is not just what I do, it's truly who I am. Working on behalf of our Jewish people has given me a lifetime of meaning, and I'm so honored now to move forward and build forward with you. Since my arrival, I've made it a priority to meet as many of you as possible, and that listening tour will continue. It's been such a joy to hear stories of commitment, leadership, and pride. Even more touching is hearing many, many memories of folks who are growing up here in Nashville, shaped by the richness of Jewish life that this community has offered for generations. What's clear in every conversation is the unique role that the Jewish Federation plays as a convener, as a unifier, and as a catalyst for Jewish life. In this challenging moment, unity is not just important, it's truly essential. Unity doesn't mean that we must agree 100% of the time. It means that we must relate to one another with dignity and respect, especially when we disagree. Our tradition is built on vigorous debate. Just think of Hillel and Shammai. We can discuss, we can disagree, and still move forward together. It's my sincere hope that we will all work together to strengthen the Jewish Federation's impact by supporting the annual campaign, by considering our legacy and the lasting difference that we can make through the Jewish Foundation, and by lending our time and our talents to the causes that matter most. As we move forward, we do so together. Our organization was built on the dedication of countless volunteers working hand in hand with their professional partners, and I know many of you are in this room right now. This next chapter will see a return to that powerful formula of success. As the saying goes, many hands make the work light. We will be calling upon our community to step up, to get involved, to lead, to learn, to dream, and to help build a strong, secure, bright, and engaging Jewish future for Nashville. And a wonderful way to see the work of our Jewish Federation system up close is if you have the opportunity to travel on mission trips. I've had the good fortune to do that several times during my career. And in addition to expanding my understanding about the reach and impact of our annual campaign around the globe, those mission trips introduced me to the most fabulous people. And one special leader who I had the opportunity to meet on one of those trips was Allison Lebovitz, our special guest speaker. Allison is a powerhouse, as you're about to find out. She's a Southern storyteller, an Emmy-nominated television host, nonprofit executive, author, podcaster, and passionate advocate for the power of story to educate, connect, and inspire change. She's the co-founder of One Clip at a Time, inspired by the Paperclips Project, and has served on numerous boards, including the Jewish Federation of Chattanooga, Greater Chattanooga, Jubelong, and the Foundation for Jewish Camp. She's also a proud co-founder of the Aleph Bet Children's Center, the first and only Jewish preschool in Chattanooga. Allison brings humor, heart, and humanity to everything she does. She believes that one voice, one story, one person can spark a movement, and that it's never too late to make a difference. It's my best pleasure to introduce Allison.
Whenever I hear an introduction like that, I think of Golda Meir, who once said, "Don't be so humble, you're not that great." So Judy is way too generous in her words, and I'm thrilled to be in Nashville. Also because, you're part of this partnership. I come from Chattanooga, down the street. Yeah, and when I look out on this crowd, I think about one of my favorite Hasidic stories. And that is of a little boy who goes every weekend to shul with his grandfather. And every Saturday, the same thing happens. The little boy walks out of the synagogue, and about 30 minutes later, he reappears in the sanctuary. This happens week after week after week, so much so that the grandfather's not just getting like worried, he's getting annoyed. And finally one day the grandfather's like, what is going on here? So he follows the little boy out and goes into the hall, out the front door, out in the parking lot, through the woods, into the forest, where he's praying. And he waits for the little boy to stop, and he comes back and he says, grandson, what are you doing? He goes, what do you mean? He goes, every week you leave and you come out here. What are you doing? He goes, I'm praying. He says, why? Why out here? He goes, I feel closer to God out here. And the grandfather says, psh, don't you know, God is the same everywhere. And the little boy said, yes, Grandpa, but I'm not. There's something about the spaces and the places where we are that makes things different. You all could have been any other place with any other people tonight. I imagine in Nashville alone, there are so many different honky-tonks. Am I allowed to still say that? Is that a thing? Or restaurants, or friends' houses, or games, or just something awesome on Netflix that you could have been doing, but instead, you chose to come here. And we don't take that for granted. And it's because not only is this space an awesome space, but it really doesn't matter where we are. Because where we gather, where we build a community, that becomes sacred. This is what I love about Federation. Because you have to say that in order to love Federation, it just means you recognize that you love people. You recognize that you love people that you know and may not see all the time or may see every day. You love people you may never meet in places you may never visit. And you believe that there is an interconnectivity between you and those people no matter what. It's why we play Jewish geography. It's why when you meet somebody, one of the first things they say is, where are you? Where are you from? It's a simple question and it has a complicated response, right? You don't necessarily get an answer when you ask a Jewish person where they're from. You get a history lesson. A lot of times it starts, well, in 1492, my people were kicked out of Spain. I won't start there. Okay, actually, in 1492, my people were kicked out of Spain, and they ended up in Turkey, in Izmir, Turkey, and then they ended up in Montgomery, Alabama. Yeah, we have Montgomery people. And so my father's side, that was my mom's side, the Sephardic side. My dad's side, the Ashkenazic side, ended up from Russia to Birmingham, Alabama. So I lived 18 years of my life as a proud Alabama Jew. My husband used to always say, and still does, can you have a single conversation without telling people you are a Jew from Alabama? No, I cannot. Here is case in point. I grew up in Birmingham. Back then, about 5,000 Jews out of 1 million people in the greater population. My parents immediately did everything they could to make sure we were tethered to our Judaism. We went to synagogue. We were bar and bat mitzvahed. We went to Camp Ramah. I went to Camp Judea. I went to Jewish day school. We still have a Jewish day school there. I graduated 7th grade from our Birmingham Jewish day school. Only 5 people in my class, and I was the only girl. My father would now make me insert, I was the smartest and prettiest girl in my class. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, he'd say. Dating was kind of non-existent. I'm sure if you've grown up, right, in the South, you know it's difficult. My parents would say, well, there's a few questions you ask, like first find out if they're Jewish, then find out if we're related. If we are, it's not so bad. Your grandparents were third cousins. We can work it out. I wish I was making this up. I'm not. But growing up in the South, right, as a Southern Jew, there's something very special and sacred about that in it of itself, right? Going to Camp Ramah, we went to the Camp Ramah. Our 3 boys all went and are still counselors at Camp Ramah Jerome in Georgia. Just go to camp. Wherever you do, just send your kids to camp. This is wearing my camp hat. Just do it, right? Our sanctioned Ramah was in Massachusetts. So being from the South, they really didn't believe we were Jewish. I mean, it was a foreign entity. But all of those experiences made me who I am today. My first time to Israel was on a Federation mission to Israel, as Judy was talking about. It was for my brother's bar mitzvah. It was 1985, a UJA family mission. We had people from Nashville, from Birmingham, from Montgomery, from Minneapolis, from Pittsburgh. I remember it was one of the most transformative parts of my life. First, because I was asked for the first time at age 14 to solicit my peers for the Federation annual campaign, right? And I remember sitting along some rocky wall, and I'm up there, and I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't really know what to say, but I got a little, like, 10-minute tutorial from our bus captain, and I'm like, all right, so get out your piggy banks and your babysitting money, and we're all gonna give as much as we can, because Federation matters, right? And so those things count. Right? Even at age 14, that formative time, learning how to ask others to give to a third person, it made a difference. The other part of that trip that was formative is, remembering that we were at the Jewish Day School and spoke little to mid-Hebrew. My parents were not. So my dad was trying to do a crash course before we came. And he sees the bus driver, and he's like, shalom. And the bus driver goes, shalom. And he goes, Ma shlomcha, how are you? And the bus driver says, Tov. And my dad said, Ma shemcha. And the bus driver goes, Tov. And my dad's like, okay, I'm not getting this right. He goes, no, Ma shemcha. And the bus driver says, Tov. And my dad said, okay, I'm so sorry. My name is Milton Goldstein. What is your name? Because talking slowly helps when you don't speak the language. And the bus driver looked at him and says, yes, I understand. My name is Tov. So those are the parts of, right, the UJA, the Federation mission, I remember. But the parts of Federation that stick with me are sometimes the parts that you don't have a memory of, but you have a feeling about. Right? These are the times where we know that the Federation, it just gets us, and it's got us. When I think about everything I care about, everything I want to do in life, everything I want my kids to become, has been about Federation. And I say this as basically a lifer on our Chattanooga Federation board. I was on National Young Leadership Cabinet. I was on the JFNA Federation board. But all of that to say is more about the boards that we sit on, the committees that we serve on, the programs that we come to. It's about the people that we meet. And it's about the people that we interact with. And it's about the people that make our lives a kahila, right, a community. I always say to my kids, they call it Beit Knesset and not Beit Tefillah. They call it a house of gathering, not a house of prayer, because that's what we do. We gather. We want to be part of each other. We feel for each other. We want to know each other. Back to that Jewish geography, I had a Catholic friend who said, I don't ask every Catholic I meet if they know every other Catholic in the city where they live. I don't get it. I'm like, but we do, right? We know. It happened tonight. I think I'm related to half of you as well, so, which is great. When I think about, though, the pride that I have felt as a Jewish person for the first 52 or 3 years of my life, and then post-October 7th, life has been recalibrated for us. One of the things, I'm wearing my grandmother's Jewish star. So my grandmother Mimi of blessed memory, my Montgomery grandmother, she's the one who used to say, Allie, pretty is as pretty does. And she would tell me that when I think I was not acting very pretty. But she gave me this when she was still alive. Oh, gosh. I didn't know how to tell her. Mimi, it's really pretty. And in my head, I'm thinking, it is so gaudy. It is the biggest honkin' Jewish star I have ever seen in my life. When in the world am I going to wear this? And then October 7th happened. My husband and I were actually in Egypt on October 7th. We had been to Jordan for 4 days before. And on our way to Jordan, we remember, even on the plane, really cleansing ourselves, literally cleansing ourselves of anything Jewish. We had been to Jordan once before, to Petra, with our boys when they were very little. But this was a 4-day trip with a non-Jewish group. And not that we thought anything would happen, right? This is October 1st, 2023. But we were literally getting rid of anything. He literally looks in his bag, and he's getting out his book, and out falls the Southern Jewish Life magazine. And I'm like, put it in the seat. What are you doing? He's like, I don't know. Like, I didn't wear my jewelry. I didn't wear anything, nothing. Like being a little bit afraid. And then the irony is that as soon as we got home from Egypt, I brought out every Jewish star, every piece of Judaica I could find, and I'm like wearing it like Mr. T. I'm getting my Jewish star that Mimi gave me, and I'm like the new edition of Flavor Flav. I don't know if you remember. Like, if you remember the guy with the big clock on his chest, right? And anybody my age here, right? And the irony that, of course, he also was with Public Enemy. So it's, like here we are. I'm like, just here I am. Here I am, Jewish. Like if you didn't see me from the front, then see me from the back. I am unapologetic about who I am, for the crowd who didn't see the chai, right? So literally, I can't be Jewy enough. I can't show you that I'm proud. I can't show you that I am loud. I can't show you enough that I am that Jewish girl from Alabama who now wants the world to know that I'm Jewish. Because tell me how you feel about me now, right? Don't put airs on. Don't tell me that it's real nice. Or don't say things behind my back. Say it to my face so that I can be representative of my people, right? Tell me to my face what you think about Israel so I can help have a conversation. Tell me to my face what you think because I'm going to get on a plane, I'm going to get on an Uber, I'm going to go to a restaurant, and I'm going to be wearing my Jewish star. How many people put on Judaica after October 7th that had never done that before? Yeah. Or had done it before, but maybe not with the consistency, right? How many still do it now? Right? It's now this like trend and we look for it. Where are you? But I look for those people and places of people who also are our allies. And I've spoken to 50 federations across the country over the past 10 years or so. And I'm always very cognizant of the fact that the other beautiful thing about federation is we have such a wide tent. Right? We have the widest tent Abraham could have ever imagined. We want everybody to feel welcome. The Jewish people, the non-Jewish people. The Jewish people by choice, the people who are just Jew curious, whatever, if you want to come and just see or sit, if your partner is not Jewish or your spouse or your child or your grandmother or your neighbor or their dog, if someone wants to come in and just feel what this kahila is like, to feel the spirit, the ruach, come join us, right? And after October 7th, not only am I intentional about that, but I'm like, thank you. Because you don't have to be here, right? We don't have to be here, but we're here. When I was in Mexico, about 6 months after 10/7, my friend Shiva, whose family left from Iran in the 70s, and she and her family still have trauma from their time. She lives in Dallas, Texas now. And so we're all meeting for her birthday party. 60 people there, 58 are Jewish, except for her friends Mary Beth and Derek. And she says, Allison, I want you to introduce to my two best friends, Mary Beth and Derek. And I said, nice to meet you. And she is as Southern as you can imagine a Mary Beth could be. And Shiva says, Mary Beth is the one I called on 10/7 to ask if she would hide my kids. And she says it as if she said, Mary Beth is the one I called on 10/7 to ask for a cup of sugar, right? And I said, okay. Mary Beth, what'd you say? She goes, honey, I got more guns than anybody. She said, Shiva called me. I knew what she meant. And I said, honey, I got you. I got you. And I said, what about me? I don't know anybody. She said, honey, I got you. You come on, right? And we were able to laugh, but these are conversations, right? If you've watched the documentary with Sheryl Sandberg, these are conversations people are having with people that they love and trust. Will you hide my kids? When on earth would we ever have that phrase? My friend Jessica and Aaron, they moved to Chattanooga during COVID and magically became a force of nature for our community. She became president of our synagogue last year. She moved fast, helped us acquire and build a new shul. And she told me a story that right after October 7th, she and her husband decided they were going to get a gun. She said, Allison, I had never even shot a gun. I had never even held a gun. And the only time I saw one, I think, was on a policeman. But we bought a gun. And then Aaron and I, he's a doctor and she's a lawyer, looked at each other and went, what do we do now? Right? Now you need to be safe with a gun. So her trainer who convinced them to get a gun said, now you need to go get trained on a gun. So she signs up for a private class at a place called Shooter Supply in Hickson, Tennessee, right in basically Chattanooga to you. And she goes, and who's her instructor? Rodney. Rodney sort of looks like Willie Nelson. He's a little gruff. He's not, Jessica's like, wants to hug you as soon as she meets you. This was not Rodney. He's like, slow your roll, lady. Let's start with the basics. He was pretty impressed because she had a good shot. He was more impressed because she was the only one he had ever taught that cleaned up her own shells. She's a little OCD. They were out on the range for like 3 hours. She said, I think the lesson was supposed to be an hour, but I really was earning my keep, and we just kept doing it, right? Now, the reason Jessica and Aaron decided to get a gun in the first place was because they knew that this was a story told over and over again, right? On October 7th in Israel, that people were actually defending their kids, and their kids are 4 and 7. And they wanted to be able to defend them. In fact, there was just one story that stuck with her. And you may have read that story. It's about a couple named Hadar and Itai Berdyshevsky. And they were 30 years old. They had 10-month twins. And when Hamas came and invaded Kfar Aza, a kibbutz right along the Gaza envelope, they placed their 10-month-old twins in the safe room. And they went out and they died protecting their twins. And when Jessica and Aaron heard this story, of course, they could only think about their own family. And they wanted to be able to protect them the same way. So after Jessica finishes this 3-hour round with Rodney, the gruff Willie Nelson type, they're talking because Aaron's coming from work, and now he's going to get his training. And he says, I just got to ask, what made you want to pick up a gun? And she says, well, Rodney, since you ask, I'm Jewish. And she starts to tell him the whole story about October 7th and the whole story about Hadar and Itai. And as she's telling him, she says, the weirdest thing happened, Allison. This gruff guy started bawling like I have never seen a man cry. And she said, I didn't know what or why this was happening. And then he got out his wallet, and I really didn't know what was happening. And he said, I just can't believe you told me that story. She goes, well, it's true. He says, I understand, I just can't believe you told me that. He reaches into his wallet and he pulls out a piece of paper. And on that paper are two names, Hadar and Itai. He had read the same article, and it had hit him just as hard. And he said, I have been carrying this paper around with me since I heard that story. I got you. I got you. This is the phrase that we hear, right? And so this is the phrase that I needed to transport to Israel. 1985 was my first mission. I went a few times after that on Ramah Seminar for my brother's bar mitzvah, my sister's bat mitzvah. Yes, I'm the oldest. I didn't get a bat mitzvah in Israel. But around 2005, when I started really getting involved with missions and national trips with JFNA and Jewish Federation, I made a commitment to go every year. And besides COVID, I've gone at least once a year for the past 20 years. And so I was there in April of 23, and then my best friend and I went back this past October of 24. We rented an Airbnb, and all we wanted to do was volunteer and to bear witness and to be with people, right? And when we got to Ben Gurion, if you've had this experience, you understand, it was the first time in my whole life, in 25, 30 trips to Israel, where I got to the turnstiles, and we were literally the only tourists in the turnstiles. And when we saw Israelis and met them at dinner or on the beach playing Motkot or whatever, or taking the trip down south to bear witness, they all had the same question for us. Why are you here? You don't have to be here. Why are you here? And we would say the same thing to them. We got you. We got you. Because this is what our religion commands us to do, right? To be together in simchas and in mourning, in triumph and in tragedy. We're literally commanded. We can't even say the mourner's Kaddish without a minyan, right? Without having 10 people around us, without knowing that our community is surrounding us at the hardest of times. Our Federation director, who's been with us for 25 plus years, one of my favorite stories that he tells is when he was in Israel visiting one of his daughters years ago, and he had the worst travel experience. He was taking 3 flights. One was delayed. He got stuck in Frankfurt. He finally makes it to Israel. He's got one suitcase that's his, another that's his daughter's because she needed extra stuff because she was in high school in Israel. And he's going down, and he's sweating, and he hasn't slept in 24 hours because he can't sleep on the plane. And as he's walking, he hears somebody behind him go, Slicha, Slicha, ata Yehudi? Right? Excuse me, are you a Jew? And he says, if I was in Chattanooga, I'd be like, no. He says, but I'm in Israel. And of course, I'm going to say yes. And he's like, oh my gosh. So he drops the luggage and he goes, Kane, yes, ani Yehudi, I am Jewish. And the guy goes, oh, thank God. We need you for a minyan. Come on. So Michael's got the suitcase in one of this. He's sweating. And he says, but this is what we do, right? This is what we do. We are part of a rich, vibrant, centuries-long tradition of people. And when they say, can you help? We say, Hineni. Here we are. We got you. One of the things I love most about this community, there's so many things I love about Nashville, but this B'nai Tzedek program, this is no joke, right? Because this is where it starts, with the youngest. Making sure they know not just what it means to be a Jewish adult, but what it means to be responsible. Responsible for Tikkun Olam, responsible for this community, responsible for the people around it. When our kids were going through bar and bat mitzvah, not bat, I only have boys. I don't know why I said bat. I'm trying. I think the world's got it being so equal. Just bar mitzvahs. We had all of them do a mitzvah program and volunteer somewhere. So when Arthur, the oldest, we've got 3 boys, I have to do this in order, Arthur, Abe, and Levi. So when Arthur was 13, really 12, because that's when he started his bar mitzvah project, the other 2 were 10 and 8. And Arthur had been volunteering for his 7th grade year at the Boys and Girls Club. It was right around the corner from his school. And I pick him up in the minivan, I've got the other 2 boys in the back seat, and it's, probably close to December, close to Hanukkah. And he tells me that for Hanukkah this year, besides some of the gifts on his list, he really wants to give back. And he really wants to make a donation to the Boys and Girls Club. He's like, Mommy, you should see what they have. Like, some of these guys don't even have pencils. And the girl I was doing tutoring with didn't even have her own notebook. So can I give my money? I want to give some of the money I've been saving from birthdays or Hanukkah and donate it to the Boys and Girls Club. It's like, can we frame this moment in time, right? I'm like, of course you can. But you don't have to ask my permission to give back, this is on you. He says, oh, I'm not asking your permission. I was actually just wondering if you and Dad would match my gift. So here I am, and I'm driving the minivan and trying not to look shocked. I'm like, yeah, I think we could match your gift. What were you thinking of giving? He's like, I've got about $150 saved up. I'm like, we're going to have to talk to the grandparents about what they've been giving you. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, I can safely say we will match it. Well, then Abe, the 10-year-old, hears this, and he's like, Mom, well, if Arthur's giving a gift, I would like to give a gift too. I'm like, okay. And he goes, and will you and Dad match my gift? I go, here we go. We are rocking. Yes, we have got a whole minivan thing going on. Yes, I will match your gift and your gift. And that's when 10-year-old Abe turns to little Levi at 8 years old. His best friend Abby Landa may be here and can witness this. And says, Levi, do you hear what's happening here? And Levi's like, yeah. He's like, Arthur's giving money, and Mom and Dad are matching. I'm going to give. I don't have as much, but I'm going to give, and Mom and Dad are going to match. Are you thinking about it? And Levi's like, I don't know. I don't really save, and I don't have any money. He goes, but, Hanukkah's coming up. You'll get it. They're going back and forth. And finally, that's when 10-year-old Abe looked at 8-year-old Levi and said, Levi, can we count on your gift? And I think about that story often because You know, Abe is really most of us, right? There's some in the room or in the community who consider themselves the youngest generation, right? The generation that's still kind of getting on their training wheels or trying to figure out what philanthropy looks like seeing the older generations and saying, can I do as much as they do? There's the oldest generation who's like, been there, done that, follow me. I will give you the Cliff Notes and I will give you the, eight track and I'll give you everything that came with it to let you know how it goes. But all of us at some point in our life are Abe. All of us right now are probably more like Abe. We are that bridge, the middle, that looks to the people before us and says, I want to do it well or better than they did with their tikkun olam, with their philanthropy. And then also looks at the younger generation and says, come with me. Join me. Join me and come do what I do, but do it better and do it your way. I will add that 12-year-old Arthur is now 25. I can't make this up. He's working for the Jewish Federation in San Francisco, and he's working in development. And he says, I think I'm pretty good at raising money. I was like, good, we need you to be good. And I say all of this because we are loud and proud. We are a community. Some of you I've known for many years. Some of you are my mishpacha. Some of you are my kids' mishpacha. A lot of you I just met tonight, but it doesn't matter because we all come from the same place. We all come from a place where we were raised to give back, where we were raised to do better than the way we found it, and we were raised that community is not just important, it is everything. You could have been anywhere with anyone tonight, and you chose to be here, and we do not take that for granted. So thank you. And as Abe Lebovitz would say, I hope we can count on your support.
She was totally wonderful, wasn't she? I am Arlene Averbush, and
I'm Jacob Kleinrock.
we are co-chairs of the campaign. And it is just delightful that all of you are here tonight, and you've heard two beautiful speeches from our new CEO that we're so proud of, and from Allison Lebovitz. And I have just a short story to tell about Allison. Some years ago, I invited Allison to come to Huntsville, Alabama to speak. And she did an excellent job there also. So it is a pleasure to hear you again and just to hear everything that you said about Federation, especially about helping Jews all over the world, because that is what our Federation is all about. So tonight, Jacob and I are so proud to co-chair this campaign. And I have to tell you that Jacob is also our treasurer, my wonderful co-chairman, smart, kind, and a joy to work with, along with Jason Sparks, who is here, who works for the Federation and really oversees our whole campaign and guides us beautifully, and Aaron, who's the president of our board, and it's just a pleasure. And I want to thank all of the people that work for the Federation office, because I will tell you now, for the 3 years that I've been involved, from the CRC to just being on the board, the people that work at our Federation office are always there for us and do the most incredible job. So I think we need to give them applause also. So we are now going to start our video, and we hope that you like it, and it will tell you all about the Nashville Federation, and you're going to love this. Thank you.
Do you recognize us? Thank you all so much for watching this video. Thank you to the Epiphany Productions team for putting that together. It's a really good, I think, representation of what we are doing with Federation, how important giving to Federation is, and kind of how we can build a future of Jewish Nashville. So on behalf of Arlene, my wonderful co-chair of the campaign, and she's such a sweet and wonderful woman, and I've been so blessed to get to know her better this year. And to our campaign committee as well, who many of you are here, so thank you all so much for taking names of people to call and give. We've already gotten to over halfway to our annual campaign goal this year without having actually kicked it off yet. Yeah.
We'll tell about the fun again.
Yes.
Okay.
Go for it.
We have something really fun that's going to happen on Sunday, and we hope all of you will come. It's going to be our phone-a-thon. Now, if you don't know how to solicit, we are there to help you, and we are there to show you how to do it. But you don't have to solicit. You can write thank you notes. You can take cards around to the people that will be working, and it's going to be so fun, and it's going to be Sunday from 9 to 3 o'clock. So if you're here working out, or if you're here running or swimming or whatever, stop in and help us if you can, and we would love for you to, because we have this year a $3 million goal, and we're halfway there, and we need your help and support.
And, thank you, Arlene. And as a part of that, if you have not yet made your pledge for the 2025 annual campaign, today is a great day to do that. If you've already made your pledge, it'd be a great day to increase your pledge. Because like we said in the video, we have a major increase that we're trying to do this year for the reasons that you've seen. And we need to raise $3 million for this year's annual campaign, which is a 29% increase over last year. So we need everybody to increase your own gifts by 29% so that we can close that gap. So if you gave $10,000 last year, give $13,000 this year. And if you didn't give that much, try to give that much. The one other great thing about pledging right now, tonight, is we'll take your name out of the Tzedakah Sunday calls for Sunday. So if you don't want to call from a volunteer, make your pledge right now. I believe that we have a QR code up on the screen. Jason is very excited about our new text-to-pledge program that we have. And so get your phones out. It's 615-669-9762. You can text it and get your pledge in that way. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible on you all. So thank you again so much. Please make a pledge. Join us on Sunday for Tzedakah Sunday to call everybody that wasn't here tonight and didn't make their pledge tonight. And we really appreciate all your support. Thank you.
And for those of you who have made your pledge, and many of you have already made your pledges, and as Jacob just said, we are very, very grateful. And we're very grateful that we have this wonderful federation here in Nashville. Thank you.
Thank you, Arlene and Jacob. Jason, thank you and your team. Judy, we're really excited about this year. Allison, we are now going to use a term of art. We've got you. So thank you all for coming tonight. Please stay for, I think, dessert. Don't forget the scan to donate. If you have any questions, please just come up, ask any one of our board members, ask Judy, and we're happy to provide any insights that you may need in order to make your pledge. So let's go. All right, thank you.